Episode 2. Today's topic is mental health awareness. Trigger warning for our listeners, we'll be talking about some difficult things having to do with mental health today. We'll also be sharing some self-care tips, how to ask for help, and talking about how mental health is often a barrier to housing.
The material and information presented here is provided by Lived Experience Youth and for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are of the guests of our podcast own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Youth Move.
Welcome back, and we are Youth Move Co., and we are going to talk about, for this episode, is mental health awareness. So there will be a trigger warning. So if you are feeling uncomfortable, please exit the podcast. And we are also telling you guys to join us during the youth awareness for our mental health forum. And we would like to get started with mental health. So what is mental health for you guys?
I'll speak on this one. Mental health for me is maintaining your mental state of mind where it is in a healthy state and not out of regular mental homeostasis where you are, not endangering others, you're not endangering yourself, you're not having any thoughts of suicide or using substance use as a coping mechanism. You're just not on the straight and narrow, because not everybody will be, but as long as you're a healthy, overall person, taking care of yourself, doing self-care, maybe taking care of others, if you have pets, just maintaining your life as it should be.
I do have the definition as well, if you want me to
go
say
for
that.
it.
Yeah. Because I love your definition, because that's how we're going to understand.
Right.
That's how we understand completely. But in the dictionary, it says, mental health is a noun, a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being.
Right.
Yeah.
Which falls under everything you just said.
Yeah, that was basically what you just put.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just mindfulness comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just it sounds kind of cheesy, but I guess it's knowing thyself, right?
Right.
Because it totally depends on who you are. Because I know for me, I've never in my life had just stable mental health without, the help of a chemical, as in a medication.
Right.
So I feel my baseline is just, how some people, their baseline is just calm and happy. Nothing is really wrong, so I feel okay.
Yeah.
I feel some people, their baseline is just sad.
Right. Yeah. Well, I also feel when I was growing up, mental health was so interesting to me, because I feel it was never, I guess it gets into why people don't talk about it kind of thing.
Oh no, Black people don't talk about it either.
But it really wasn't a thing that was talked about in my house. And so I think naturally, something would come up and I would be oh, this feels really funny. But for me, a really good way of just not feeling that was just not thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel now as I am getting older and hearing more about it, and I'm more in the world of mental health and bringing it up, it's almost overwhelming, because you start to actually start to feel those feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're just oh wait, whoa, how did I get through all those years of my life,
Right.
And I feel it's also really normalized for depending on how you're raised, you just kind of learn how to fake it.
Yeah.
It's, have you heard of the glass child thing?
Mm-hmm.
My brother had so many more issues than me. I just didn't want to be a problem. So
Right.
I just kind of kept it
Right. Yeah.
It's always when it came to my family per se, it had to be me to break the generational curse of hush hush of the taboo of mental health. Because for me, I got diagnosed at 19 with bipolar type 1. I was with PTSD, anxiety, and depression. I'm a whole ball of things. But it was hard because my family did not understand what that meant. So when I ended up having to go to Highland Ranch, I had to go to Highland Ranch. I sent myself there, which was really difficult because even before then, I was trying to explain to my mom, there's something wrong and I don't know how to express it. And my mom just kept neglecting it and just being like, oh, it's some little boy. And finally, I got to a point where I was just like, Mom, shut up and listen. That's it. That's all I need for you to do is just listen to me. I'm not okay. Can we please find something to fix this situation? And so finally, when I ended up getting out of the system, it was a lot of, okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's why you were acting like that when you were 14 and 15. It started to make sense. And it got to a point where my mom was trying to tell me, hey, don't tell your grandparents. And I was like, why? And she was like, it's very difficult because why is it that I have to explain myself to my grandparents? Like, I loved my grandparents and I wanted to tell them everything, but it was just like, how do you try to tell somebody that's in a taboo position that you are going through something mental? And it broke me. It did. It broke me tremendously because it was just like, that was what was wrong with me. I literally had to go crumble like a tin can just to figure out what was wrong with me. And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate growing up in a single mom household with my mom, because I feel like since a young age she taught me how to be in tune with myself rather than hold stuff in. Because like I still went to therapy and stuff like that, but I really didn't need therapy. Like my mom made it a point to being able to like evaluate yourself and know where yourself is at as a young man. And mind you, we're gonna get to it anyway. It's like, because as a gender role and as a Black man, you're not supposed to go talk to anybody else about your feelings. You're not supposed to complain and everything. So my mom made it a very big point that like, you got to be able to evaluate yourself. You got to be able to work throughout any emotional problem that you have. If it's anger, if it's sadness, why are you mad? Why are you sad in that form or fashion? So it's like, that's why I feel like for mental health, for me, it's like, it really is like working on yourself. But at the same time, like as I've gotten older, I got to learn like you ain't in it by yourself. You don't have to be in it by yourself. Like, exactly. Like you got a whole group of people. Like you can set up a whole team. Like that's why you got friends. Yeah. You feel me? Like you should be able to express yourself to your friends just as much as you could be able to express yourself to your family. Your friends are there. So if you can't express yourself to your family,
I think something is mental health wasn't really talked about, especially in like Michigan where I grew up. I was there until I was 11, and like within all of this, like all the trauma I developed in Michigan, coming to Colorado, I was here like 3 months before I was 11 years old, and I told my mom that I was going to commit suicide. And I didn't understand why. Like, why did I keep having these feelings? Like, why? And it was something that I wasn't allowed to talk about. I was isolated from school. Like, I lost my network. And my part of mental health is like I have like really bad depression. Like, sometimes getting out of bed is a chore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Making sure I'm eating and stuff. And once my family found out that like, she thought I was crazy, Mm-hmm. Or when I explained things, it's like, oh, you just want attention. What 11-year-old is going to try to end their life over attention?
Exactly.
And then being thrown in the system and learning about everything, it's like, wow. And I mean, even as a 25-year-old adult now, like I still struggle with things, and it's like, there's times where like, this is not fair. Like, Why is it we get judged for talking about how we feel? Why is it I lost my whole family over having depression and being thrown in the system like garbage? Me talking about my feelings made me garbage.
Which I'm going to tell you just like this, you are not garbage. You are worth everything that you are deserving. And the thing of that is we are in a bubble where we are shifting in society. For example, with TikTok, of course. TikTok has been a huge thing for me specifically, because the thing is that we're getting more involved with like mental disorders. I didn't know anything about bipolar disorder. And the thing is that like a lot of people will correlate it with BPD and bipolar disorder, which they are completely two totally different things. BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, a lot of people will correlate it with bipolar, which is more of a mood disorder than it is a personality disorder. And a lot of people get the two mixed, which it aggravates me because I'm the person that I'm an advocate where you do not need to be self-diagnosing yourself. But also in the same breath, you need to realize that there is something wrong. And if you see the signs, say something. But I don't like the stipulation with mental. People be like, oh, I'm so bipolar. No, you're not. And it's like, you do not understand the amount of situation I go through. I have to sit here and physically fight myself and try not to flip the script or split, and when I do split, I'm regretting everything. I have this situation where I'm just like, God, why did I do that? And I'm trying to apologize. And for so many years, I have lost relationships because of it. I have lost family members. My family is kind of back and forth with this situation, trying to talk to me because I got to a point where I stopped taking my meds, which please, for the love of God, take your meds. Take your meds, because if you don't, you start to get to a point where you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, who is this person? And it's uncomfortable. And you also need to realize that therapy helps. Please go to therapy if you can afford it. This is so hard. And I'm very passionate about this because a lot of people don't understand that mental health is you. It is you. And you can't just neglect that part of you because everything else follows behind it.
Yeah. And we were talking about BPD, and like I personally have BPD, not bipolar, but the borderline personality disorder. And when people don't understand, like especially with your diagnoses, research it.
Right.
Because maybe you'll get misinformed. But I have BPD and reactive attachment disorder. I get attached to people. And when I get attached to people and they don't understand my mental health and they leave, it's done. I'm done for. Like, I'm going downhill.
Yeah, and it just drops downhill after that, because it's just like you become so dependent with that person and you're just like, why me? You get into a spiral of what is wrong with me, which that's another thing. There is nothing wrong with you at all. You are just trying to find a way to navigate yourself and navigate through life, because there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are a beautiful person. You have a beautiful mind. You have a beautiful soul. There should be no reason that you are thinking day in and day out, what is wrong with me? And I should kill myself because I don't know what's wrong with me. Find that out. Be the person that you feel like you can be comfortably around other people in order to be accepting. This is such a touchy subject. And the thing is, it's like, it's tough because I'm pretty sure you can hear it in all of our voices. It's a tough subject. and trying to navigate this, which we're still navigating through. We're still young. We're trying to figure things out. And if you find that group for you, it'll be wonderful. And the thing is with, I don't know, the conversation that we can have with signs of mental health. I can give a couple examples. I don't know about everybody else, but if you notice your child or your sibling is not getting out of bed, they are very flighty with you, they don't feel like doing the things that they love, it's something that you need to pay attention to. It is something that you cannot neglect, because you don't want to be in the situation where you were like, I could have stopped them. I could have made the situation better. You don't want this to be a trickling effect, of why didn't I fix this situation? And you can fix this situation by talking to your friends, talking to your child, talking to your teacher, talking to somebody. And if that person isn't listening, go find somebody else, please, because it is important to understand that you don't have to specifically talk to one person. You can push yourself to talk to a bunch of people. Heck, you can even talk to somebody on TikTok. Just make a bunch of videos and stuff like that. I've seen it all over TikTok. I've seen it all over Instagram. Make yourself vlogs, which I know a lot of people are like, if you cry on camera, you're seeking attention. And it's like, sometimes
these platforms are the only outlet you got.
Exactly. And that's the only way for you to get out the situation that you need before it comes to an end. And it's not okay that we are also in a cruel world, which I absolutely despise. Because somebody could be like, hey, I'm going through something. Then we got some jerk being like, okay, well, I'm going through it too. You need to get over it. How dare you? That's not okay. That is unacceptable. Because as a person, you need to understand that we're all human. There should be absolutely zero reason of trying to navigate the situation or push people's emotions aside. That is another thing that I've noticed, is a lot of people's mental will get often neglected. And it'll get pushed aside, or it'll be like with my situation, it was, oh, you're just a teenager. Teenagers don't punch holes in walls.
You need to get outside. You need to exercise.
Go touch some grass.
You don't need an antidepressant.
Right.
You just need to do yoga.
Exactly. And that's exactly what my grandparents told me for a while, because I ended up getting on Latuda. Mm-hmm. And so my grandparents were just like, you need to get outside. You need to go walk. And I'm like, that only does so much. Mm-hmm. And that's another stipulation that we have as well. Medicine. It's not a crime to take your pills. It is not. And the thing is that if it helps you, it helps you. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Not everybody is wired to take medicine. That's another thing that I've noticed too. Because I don't know how many times, even being in the mental hospital, I've seen too many people be completely drugged up and they had no reason to be on it. Like, they could have just had, them walk outside, go touch some grass, journal, things of that sort. That's another thing that I despise about doctors, because they'll see a problem, here's some pills, shove it down your throat, and keep it moving. Yeah. There is no type of trying to figure out the situation, and it's just like, it's not okay.
I was definitely over medicated in Miami, Florida. Mm-hmm. When I traveled from Castle Rock to Florida because situations didn't work in Castle Rock, of that matter. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, let's try Florida. Went down there, had no plan of like housing or nothing. I just went down there with a backpack and whatever else I had. And then when I was down there, my stuff was stolen right in front of me. And just he ran off with it. Some guy, just random guy, just took off with my stuff. Later, my PTSD got so bad that I broke into a for sale home because I wanted to be in a house. And then I was arrested, thrown in jail. And then from there, they said, you're not fit for jail because I was suicidal in jail. And then they over-medicated me in jail. And then I went to several different hospitals down there to even get back to Colorado to where I was supposed to be. They gave me gabapentin, which had made me get nightmares. They put me on Latuda. They put me on Seroquel. They put me on injectable Abilify when I came back.
They have injectable Abilify?
It was court ordered by Arapahoe County here in Colorado because they said I was a menace to society and some other things because I was found sleeping at an RTD parking lot and an officer picked me up. I had a warrant for a non-paid light rail ticket. So I got thrown in jail for that. And then they messed with my mind so much in Arapahoe County Jail. They were like, well, we see something in Florida that you did. And then they were like, what else did you do here? We know all about it. And they really didn't.
Just interrogating you for no reason. They
wanted me to just incriminate myself somehow. I'm like, I didn't do anything. I just came back from Florida. And they said, well, we might extradite you. And then Florida said, no, we don't want her, keep her. Basically. So I had to go through all the legal stuff here in Colorado to fix that. A diversion program that was online. It wasn't even a diversion program. It was me paying $100 each month until $500 of diversion program was over. And then they said, well, you still have this 3rd-degree felony on your record. You can get it expunged with another $65 fee. So it really hindered me from getting employment, getting this, getting that. And then jail and hospitals just made all my mental, illnesses or whatever you would call them, problems, just so much worse. It just added on top of it and intensified it.
I think something that is failed, like I hear you saying that I've experienced too, is especially the juvenile justice system around mental health. I haven't done anything in my history that broke laws, but through Arapahoe County, I was sentenced 0 to 2 years in Division of Youth Corrections at the time because I was a danger to myself, not because I was a danger to anyone else. They got me under criminal mischief for attempting to end my life. And that's not something that's talked about. There are people that are in jails right now, especially youth, they need help. They don't need to be locked behind bars. I was on a behavioral plan because of how unsafe I was, where I was in the cell 23 hours a day, out one.
Yeah.
And that
they did that to me in Miami. They did that. So they put me in this cell thing. I was in processing. And the processing was just taking forever. We were just looping around in a circle for no reason. They weren't even putting us anywhere. I was like, I just want to kill myself. Rah, rah, rah. And then they threw me in this cell for 3 days. No water, no food.
Yeah. That's what
I was not even myself when I came out. They dragged me out because I was so weak because I had no food and no water. And I watched the clock go around. I saw the clock go around so many times and I counted. I was like, there's no way I could be in here for 3 days.
Something that also around mental health is the restraining they use.
Yes. That turtle suit.
Yeah. That was for my safety. I would use it.
But that was humiliating. It was embarrassing. Yeah. And the thing is that when they put you in I don't know why they call it a turtle suit, just because it's green. It's stupid. But they put you, just to describe it, they put you in this green suit that's Velcro.
Yeah.
And they strip you completely. Like, you have no clothes on. You are in this green suit. It's uncomfortable. It's itchy. And they are round the clock watching you. And they're just banging on the door. And you're just like,
you can't have books. You can't have anything.
Yeah,
You're sitting
nothing.
on the floor. But like, they handcuffed me to a bed. I had shackles tied to or cuffed to a bed, this cuffed to a bed because I said I wanted to kill myself. Did I like? But you can't just restrain someone. That's gonna make it worse.
right.
I've gotten shots. Like, that's their go-to. Is especially in some of the facilities I've been to, they would give me shots to put me to sleep, to stop talking
Mm-hmm.
about what's going on, or if I was gonna go tell my lawyer what was going on. I was getting shots to be put to sleep so I wouldn't be able to talk to them. And this is not good. Like, mental health is such a, is taboo the right word? Taboo subject that
yeah.
it's not, you guys don't, like, the adults don't know what's going on behind these doors that are like, there has to be a reason why Lizzie wants to commit suicide. There has to be some type of reason. And if you're not going to listen to him and just abandon her and just be like, okay, you're figuring out for yourself, where you keep putting me in this situation where I'm not getting better.
Right. And when push comes to shove with this situation, it's a blame on the police system, definitely. Mm-hmm. And it's also the fact of, like I said, neglect. And it's neglect with the adults, specifically the older adults, our parents, our grandparents. They see, it's just, like I said, generation of ignorance. And it's, oh, you're just, being a weird kid. And it's like, also with that situation as well, there's a lot of kids that have been sexually harassed, sexually assaulted, things of that sort. And if that issue is not fixed right there, that's where the mental starts going. It starts delving further and further and further and further until they become a behavioral issue in school. They become behavioral issues in justice systems. And then now you have a kid in jail, and half the time they're like, I don't even know why I'm in here.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you put them in there in the first place?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to them?
And I think with mental, I keep going back to this. Sorry.
No, keep talking.
Mental health in young adults, especially parenting adults, mental health, like, they can use your mental health against you. I don't know how much of you guys know my story, but I had my son, and they used me not having a family, me being in a system, as a way to lose my baby. And they took my baby from the hospital from me when he was born not breathing. And they used my mental health previously as a way to take my child. And now it's like, even now talking about it, I get threatened with CPS all the time when it comes to, oh, you're feeling depressed, we're calling CPS.
Which, that is the thing that makes me angry, because it's not fair, especially with young parents. Young parents get the short end of the stick every time, and it never fails, because they deem us as irresponsible automatically. Like, right off the bat, it is the assumption of we are irresponsible. We don't know how to take care of ourselves. So how do we take care of children? And it's just like, sometimes that child is what we needed to navigate our mental health. I don't know how many times I have had friends, I have had my aunts and things of that sort. They have told me that if I did not have this child, I would not be here. And the thing is that, like, there is so much negativity behind young parents, because it's just like, you have no reason to be upset. You have no reason because you did this to yourself. And I think that is disrespectful on their end, because it's just like, one, you could have been in that situation yourself. And two, it's just like, if you have been in that situation, why aren't you finding yourself to be like, hey, let me help this person with trying to get diapers or things of that sort, trying to navigate being a parent. And the thing is like, if you have your parents and you end up having a child, oftentimes they end up neglecting that situation. They'll be like, well, that's your situation. I have nothing to do with that. And it's just like, I need you more than ever now. Why are you neglecting me now? But you could have had me in this situation now. I don't understand. And it's just like, I've asked my mom a couple of times, like with her being a single mom, I was like, how did you navigate this situation? And the majority of the time she didn't have an answer for me. And she was just like, I don't know, I kind of just did. And the thing is that like, even with single parents, you can also see that it's hard for them. They push their mental away from everything. They were just like, parent, I have to be a parent. That's it. That's all. And then when their children start to become adults, then they start to get to that point where did I go? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Or I could have did this better. And it's always a coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you're shoulding yourself. It's difficult. And I feel like if parents start to understand their kids, it will be so much easier. And if parents are listening or anything like that, please listen to your kids, because you don't want to end up being in a situation where you're wondering where your child went, or why couldn't I fix this situation because they weren't talking to me. You need to be a listening ear, and you need to be an active listening person. There is just no way, no how that you are just going to listen and give a response. The majority of the time when it comes to mental health, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm more the type of person where I don't need you to give me a solution. Give me a hug. Tell me everything is going to be okay. Don't give me a solution unless I ask you for it, And my suggestion to any of you guys that are dealing with somebody that has mental, you can ask them beforehand, do you want me to listen? Do you want a hug? Or do you want a solution? That's how I am learning now to talk to people, especially when, I'm with a significant other, or I'm with my mom, or I'm with anybody. I ask those three options because sometimes it's just like, no, I need a vent. Just don't say anything, or I need a solution and stuff like that. Be mindful of that.
Yeah. Can I also add that if your friend, child, or like family member or whoever you're around, and you notice like different patterns, just really different off-key patterns that, are not regular to you or not normal to them, like maybe reach out and ask them, like, what is going on in your life?
Yeah.
How can I help you? Like, maybe you should reach out instead of them asking for help all the time.
Yes.
I also feel like it's important to talk about like the guilt because like my brother, he had a few suicide attempts growing up, my older brother. And I was raised by a single mom too. And like the guilt that comes with knowing that you did everything that you could, but like maybe it wasn't enough. And so like not blaming yourself if like you've done what you're supposed to, you saw the warning signs, you've reached out,
Exactly.
Sometimes that's all you can do. And like someone has to decide themselves that it's ready to heal on their own,
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna bounce off of that too. do not push whoever it is that you are talking to the point that they will not talk to you. Because some people are not ready to have that conversation, and that is okay. You can wait for them. You wait in line for a movie. You wait in line for, a carnival ride. You can wait for them to be ready to have that conversation. And when they are ready, be prepared to be an active listener and create rapport with the person that you are discussing with.
I just want to say, I just feel like there's never such thing as enough.
Right.
Like, if you truly care for that person, you're going to do it unlimitedly. Like, there's not...
And unconditional.
Like,
as well.
Like you can't put a top on that. So it's like, because it's like, if I really care for you, I'll jump through the whole world, like jump through hula hoop after hula hoop after hula hoop. So it's like, I really don't believe like there's something called enough. I'm not saying that what you said was wrong either. I just feel like you should do on this type of topic, especially if it's somebody close, like it's due diligence. Like it's nonstop. So that's like my opinion on that.
Yeah. The thing is that we as people, we have coping mechanisms, and the thing is that we never realize or navigate the situation where it is healthy or unhealthy. And for me, I never really saw like a line with coping mechanisms until we actually had a conversation about it, when I realized, I was like, there are unhealthy and healthy coping mechanisms, because the majority of the time it was with our youth drinking, doing drugs, having sex, basically just blocking out our mind and just moving on from the situation because we don't want to talk about it. And the thing is that a healthy kind of coping mechanism that you can do is go for walks, meditate, take the time to understand yourself, do shadow work, trying to understand what's going on internally. And some unhealthy ones are, like I said, drinking, doing drugs, things of that sort. Or it might be a touchy subject, but I used to cut myself. I used to self-harm a lot. And I also, did you guys know that picking your fingers and your nails is also a form of self-harm? I did not know that. I was talking to my therapist and I was like, no way, that's just a nervous tick. That's just something that normal people do. She was like, no, that's a self-harm thing.
I learned so much when I first went to a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was like, I never thought I was suicidal, because when my psychiatrist asked me, I said, well, I think about it all the time, but I would never actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you're suicidal.
Right, you're suicidal, baby. You just gotta
I was like, no, I would never do that to my mom. She was like, if you're thinking about it all the time, like...
Yeah, that's another thing that we also need to talk about as well, is the difference between suicidal ideation and actually being suicidal. Because they like to merge it, and that's how we end up with the judicial system being like, oh, you're suicidal, let's put you in a turtle suit and you're going to be watched 24 hours, And they need to understand that the idea of me doing it, I'm not going to do it. And you need to understand that I'm having those thoughts, but I'm not going to execute that. That's the part that they skip out, is they see the, I'm going to kill myself. They ignore the, but I'm not going to. The I want to, but I'm not gonna. And so when it comes to somebody that is suicidal, they are trying day after day after day after day after day, and it's just like they're not being successful. And so they're just planning out, which that's another thing that my therapist was telling me about. The difference with it is if you have a plan. That is the thing. Because a therapist will ask you, they'll be like, okay, you're suicidal. How are you going to do it? And that's where the part that they miss, because it's just like, if you have ideas of ways to kill yourself, then that's where you need to be concerned. If me just, I don't know, I just don't want to be here anymore, you don't need to correlate that to being like, oh, you need to be in a straitjacket.
Both are very concerning.
Yes,
Don't get us wrong.
Right, don't get us wrong. Both are very concerning.
And sometimes, like suicidal ideation will lead to suicidal acts. And that was my part of like my problem was I was really suicidal ideation all the time. And then I would try to go act on it.
Right.
And if it didn't work, I would just try other things like week by week. I'm like, why am I not dying? Like, I must, be here for a purpose. And then it was just like, it was a really extensive thing because I was just listening to music one day, just full blast, walking in the middle of the night, just running out in front of cars and hoping that they would just hit me. Like, that was one thing. And then another thing, I was, I jumped off a bridge and I just landed in the water. I didn't actually hit a rock that I was supposed to. Like, it was a wide variety of things. There was trying to overdose on pills and alcohol, and I woke up a day later. I was like, oh, I'm not dead. Like, it's just, there needs to be also like people that know that, like, people that are closer to that person, they should know how that person is going to plan it too. Like,
yes.
Oh, they drink, they'll probably use this, or they have a belt, maybe remove all their belts out of their room, so they don't try to hang themselves in the closet. Like, just different things that other people could possibly like prevent other people from actually acting on it while they're in suicidal ideation. That would be helpful.
Yeah, that's a really good mechanism, because actually when I got out, I took all the scissors out of my room, which me and my mom made that idea together. She was like, we need to take the scissors out of your room. You have to ask me for your medication, and any other medication, which for me, it kind of frustrated me because I'm like, I just got monitored like 24 hours in the day. Why do you need to monitor me now? And it made me realize like, maybe this is making a situation better for me instead of just making like a problem for myself. So it's just like, I don't know. It's difficult, but we can make it work.
Let's bring the vibe back.
Yeah, because the vibe is very dark. It's so dark. The thing is that like, you are not your mental problems. You have control of your situation, and you have the choice of letting it continue, or you take whatever mental you have by the horns, put it on a chain, and you live with it. Because unfortunately, it's not going to go anywhere. So you either make this situation and kind of re-up on the situation, or you just let it take you down. And I refuse to let any of you do that. So.
And something that Kippy said yesterday is that we need to accept and love people for who they are as whole people.
Absolutely.
And I think for a lot of us, like, our mental illness is like, it is part of me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going anywhere.
No.
But I've learned to,
I've named mine. His name is Billy. So, it's just like, yeah, I gotta live with Billy. Billy's like my roommate. That's really annoying. But, you kind of just deal with it. You gotta roll with it.
And it's like once you get control over like your mental health condition, it's so overpowering. Like it empowers you
It does.
to maintain it at a certain level where it doesn't get out of control again. I'm in the maintenance of my PTSD where I can finally be around strangers.
And I'm proud of you for that. You're doing a damn good job of it.
Thank you.
You are. And the thing is that like with all of us, I can see like the mental that we went, the pain that we've dealt with. And the thing is that we are here. We are Vistas. Do you see what we're doing right now? We are helping the youth. We are making this situation better for them to have these conversations, and be able to be comfortable with themselves, no matter who they are, what they are, just existing in what they are. And if nobody has told you today, I'm proud of you. We are proud of you. And you are doing everything that you can. And I love that for you guys. So keep pushing, keep doing whatever it is that you need to do and want to do. Follow your dreams, focus on what is important to you, and keep everything else that is not important to you out of the way. Be the person that 6-year-old self would be extremely proud of. Be the person that your 15-year-old self would be like, wow, look at me. I did so much for myself, and I get to continuously be the person that I want. This is not your stop. This is not your end. You are going to be flourishing in whatever it is that you need to do. You are going to thrive. You are going to be the person that you want to be. And I am just, you guys are going to do so much for yourselves. And you will think back to this podcast and be like, they were so right. I'm not the person, I'm not my mental disorder. I am not my cases. I am not my juvenile past. I am not my past. I am my present. I am not my future either. I will get to that point. I just need to focus on the now. A lot of people today have discussed about their personal stories and things of that sort. So the kind of question that I would love to ask everybody is, why did you feel so compelled on sharing your story?
Well, for me, I feel like a lot of people go through struggles without knowing other people go through the same type of struggles or even worse struggles. So it's not like a competition of like who struggled more or anything, but it's like a shared experience. We could connect with people on different levels. Like a lot of people look at me and think that I've never been to jail, but I have. And when I share that, I can connect on a different level where that person has been. So I can bring them up and be like, it's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. I've done it. You can do it too.
Right.
I feel like teenage me would have loved to hear someone talking about exactly what I was going through.
Yeah. Me expressing my story is, it's kind of a little thing. It's a lot of Black people ignore the fact that we don't talk about mental illness, and it's often just so hush hush, and a lot of our mental gets determined by police. And I don't know how many times it frustrates me, I'm sorry, that I've seen somebody that is dealing with a mental disorder and they get shot down in the street. And it's just like, you could have helped that person instead of shooting them in the middle of the street. And you can actually help them instead of sending them to jail. You don't have to constantly navigate this situation where they're just bad people. And we're not bad people.
A lot of them are lost.
Lost completely. And we need people like us to help with that situation. And you can't just neglect them the way that we do. They need help too. And it's just like, you just can't do that. They need help. And it's just like, please get help. Don't sit here and just let yourself waste away. Just help yourself. If you don't want to do anything else, help yourself or somebody else. That's all I have to say about that.
I think for me, just talking about my story, I guess, it's something that's kind of like my healing process.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to be a mom and have mental health issues. It's not okay for people to say because you didn't have a family, you can't be a mom. And knowing that, like, you can't, they can't do that to you. So making that, or a parenting youth, like, they can't take that from you. And I know everything that I am never going to put my son through that I've went through.
That's another thing too. Do not put your children or anybody for that matter through the same thing that you do, because it's not fair and it's something that you can't just often just push past. If you have some type of mental anything, do not push it towards somebody. Just talk to somebody. Don't just push it out on your kids. Don't push it out on your siblings. Talk to somebody or something. I talk to my cat. As crazy as that sounds, I talk to my cat or talk to a goldfish, or I sometimes even talk to the wall, because the wall doesn't tell my business or does it talk back. So it's the matter of you creating your story for yourself. And I feel like you should start writing those pages. So talking about coping mechanisms and having healthy coping mechanisms, they don't always have to be healthy. You know, you don't always have to go on a walk. You know, you could find something fun that you enjoy. Like, for example, I love dancing. Dancing is something that you could always do. Move your body, move your hips. Even if you can't dance and ain't got no rhythm, just do it anyway. That's what I do. So what's some other fun coping mechanisms that you guys do?
Coloring.
I love coloring.
I love coloring.
Coloring is absolutely the most fun thing in the world. And the thing is that anybody can do it. And coloring books range from like 2 years old to like completely adults. And also, if you're a teenager and things of that sort, and you gotta cuss a little, they have coloring books with cuss words in it. It's absolutely fun.
I don't like the adult coloring books though, because
It's always
the
mandalas.
lines are too small.
Yes.
Because then I have to think too much. I don't want to give myself a headache.
Right. And it's
I
always,
genuinely love the children's coloring books
And
because
it's-
it's like mindless.
Right. And it's always like a mandala. And I like that. I appreciate it. It's so gorgeous. But I don't want to be sitting here with my glasses on, squinting, trying to figure out, do I want to do this green or do I want to do this yellow? Like, it's already frustrating me and I don't want to be stressed out coloring.
Another one is, this is going to be a weird explanation, but Amanda did a chapter chat on the love languages, but like how that
For
turns into
yourself.
self-love.
Yes.
And so I'm definitely like, my love language is touch. I love hugs. So like coping mechanism for me, getting a hug from a friend.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
Group hug.
Yeah, definitely. Group hugs are the best thing, unless you're not a hugger, which that's okay, you know?
I like painting and poetry and music.
Yes.
Like all of those. I used to do poetry when I was a kid, or like write letters to people that I was like angry with and like never send them.
Yes.
And that would like get all of my anger and expression out, and then I could just throw it away without it, even them like knowing about it, you know? And
Burn it.
that's kind of like a safe way to deal with like if someone will lash out angrily at you, if
Yes.
you tell them you're angry,
Uh-huh.
you know, just write like a pretend letter to them and throw it away or burn it, you know,
Yeah.
if you're that angry.
Right.
And then music is just a really good way to, because there's all types of genres of music, you know, for anger, sadness, happiness, depression, anything like that. Anything that can,
Spotify is a
like,
good one.
lift up. I have like 1,000 songs on my
Me
Spotify.
too.
Same, I pay for it because I
Right,
don't
I
have
need
time
to.
to listen to ads.
Exactly.
I listen to the ads.
No offense for people who run ads.
Right. But the thing is like going off of burning, I do not suggest don't burn anything that's not meant to be burned.
Yes.
Do not commit arson. So
When I say burn it, just burn it in a safe space where nothing will catch on
like
fire.
in a garbage can, like a metal
Yeah.
garbage can,
Yeah.
or
Something
in a hole
concrete,
in the
in a
backyard.
parking garage where there's nothing around.
Well, then you could accidentally burn the parking garage.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You should cut all these bad ideas out.
No, I actually like it.
out.
So Ben, you haven't talked in a little bit. So we are discussing about some fun coping mechanisms. What's some coping mechanisms that you do that are fun?
Yeah, I got some coping mechanisms. So one thing is as a young man, I say incorporating reading. I know and so people don't like reading in the beginning of times, but it's a very good way not only to educate yourself, but to also pass time. So, because guys usually focus on the physical things like playing basketball, going on hikes, going out hanging out with the guys, but I feel like you need to learn how to be comfortable with being by yourself.
Absolutely.
And not even like educating yourself while being by yourself. So go out there, truthfully speaking, go out there and get an emotional book. Go out there and get a therapy book.
Yeah.
Go get something that's probably going to make you cry or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like you need to learn how to get in tune with your emotional side, especially because, I don't think like people know this. Men are like one of the high ranking suicidal rates. Like we are leading in suicidal rates. So I feel like it's very important that men educate themselves on their emotional side, because if you don't know yourself emotionally, then you really don't know yourself,
right?
Like period. And so I feel like guys are very good at basketball, all these physical things. Guys are good at faking it and being around each other. So that's why I say shut your room, turn off the TV, turn off the music, and like really get to learn about yourself. Like if you feel like, and truthfully speaking, this is for account to me because I used to be 400 plus pounds. You feel like you're overweight, go look in the mirror and tell yourself you look good. You love yourself. Absolutely. And then notice some things that you want to work on and then work on those things. Don't sit there and just beat yourself up and then put it in the back of your brain because one day it's just going to flood the front. Truthfully. So I mean, I don't have specific coping mechanisms. I can tell everybody to just go out there and do what I know. I read a lot. I play chess a lot. Like a lot.
Can you teach me how to play chess?
Yeah.
Chessboard, I put all of the different pieces.
Yeah, I was literally watching you all day play chess. Like,
I play.
Okay, yes, we gotta play.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, cause I mean, like, I know, mind you, like when I was in jail, I wasn't allowed to mingle with the other inmates because I was a very angry young man at the time. Mm. So all I had to do was hang out with the staff and stuff. So I found chess being very soothing for me. Like it let me express myself in a way that didn't involve attacking other people because you got to attack pieces and take their kings.
Here's my knight in your face.
And so like that's the thing. Like I just feel like as a young man, I mean, do something that you're not used to, because then you might find something that literally helped you way better than anything else. Like weightlifting, cool, okay. I feel like as a guy, we're all good at that. So you're not really learning anything by weightlifting. You're just doing something that you're like really good at. I feel like you need to educate yourself on something that is very, very hard, because from doing that, then you'll learn to love it, become passionate for it. And then truthfully, you'll do it at times that you've never expected yourself to do it. Because like when I get anxious, I play chess. Like literally, like that's the first thing I do. So
you've been pretty kind of anxious all day.
Was that your game I messed up out there?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
And that's the thing too. Men, it is okay to not be okay. You do not have to sit here and be a macho man all the time. Accept the fact that you are like, okay, I'm a little sad today, or I'm upset. Why am I upset? Because I have seen so many men, including my brothers. I kind of noticed that a lot of them, I don't know about like you or anything like that, but a lot of men don't tell other men, I love you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and touch on that. maybe it's because my friend group. So we were all homeless together, all 8 of us. Like, so we went from homelessness. We got an apartment together. Like, we tell each other we love you. We tell each other be safe and everything like that, because like we really are a brotherhood. Like, we go to church together. Like, I really watched these young men get jobs. One of them is like a mountaineer person. So it's like, so it's like, I really watched them all grow. So they really are family. So it's like, if you got that group that you really consider your brotherhood, your family, tell them that you love them. Tell them that, like, I hope you're doing okay. Like, I hope like everything is like gonna go all right. Stay safe at night. Call me when you get home type situation.
Right.
Like, for real. Cause it's like, I don't care what nobody say. Like, I love my brothers, and it's like, I want them to be successful in all ways and possible. And it's like, if you really love me, you're going to tell me that you love me. So
Exactly.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Make sure to tell everyone that you love them, because I've learned the past year with 3 deaths that you don't know when the last time you'll see someone.
Literally.
Absolutely.
Literally. I feel like, thank you for tuning in for us. I know this was a very emotional topic for you guys. Thank you for hearing us out. Thank you for hearing our some of our worries about you guys, some of our worries about ourselves. Pray for us. We'll pray for you. We'll send you guys good affirmations and wishes.
Also, you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved. Have a wonderful night, ladies and gentlemen.